Hey lovelies, Tony here from TL Yarn Crafts. Did you know there are over 400 possible stitches in Tunisian crochet? Today I'm going to show you 3 new to me stitches that I recently fell in love with. They're all beginner friendly and we'll walk through them step by step. Throughout the tutorial, I'll be using a worsted weight yarn and a 6.5mm Tunisian crochet hook unless otherwise mentioned. Now let's jump right in. For this first stitch, we'll start with a multiple of 5 plus 2. So I'm going to make my slip knot, leaving a tail long enough to weave in later. Put that on my hook, tighten down that slip knot, and I'm going to yarn over and pull through for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. That gives me 20 chains, and now I need to chain 2, 1 and 2. So that is my multiple of 5 plus 2. Now for our forward pass of our foundation, we're going to do it just like normal in Tunisian crochet. We're going to rotate that chain towards us, and we're going to find the back bump of the second chain. So this loop on the hook does not count as a chain. The back bump of the first chain is here. We're going to skip that one and pull up a loop in the second chain, which is here. So I'm going to insert my hook under that back bump. There we go. Yarn over and pull up the loop nice and high. Find the next bump, insert, yarn over, pull up the loop. And we're going to do that for each chain down the line. So insert under the back bump, yarn over, pull up the loop. And we'll know we did it right if we have the same number of loops on our hook as the number of chains that we started with. Just a couple more chains here. Pull up this last loop. Wonderful. So now I'm going to give this a quick count just to make sure I've got my 22 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. We got them all. All right, so the stitch pattern starts here on our return pass. Normally for Tunisian crochet, we'd start our return pass with a chain 1, but here we actually want to chain 2. So a yarn over, pull through for 1, yarn over, pull through for 2. Next, we want to yarn over and find the next 6 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to pull through all 6 of those loops. So I like to just shift them up towards the front of the hook here, yarn over and pull through those loops. Now you can do that in steps if you need to. You don't have to do it all at once. From here, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Make sure you keep those chains loose because we will need to work into them later. And then we're going to yarn over and find the next 6 loops again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Load those up towards the front of the hook and scoop through. So I just did that in steps because I needed to, but I got through all 6. We're going to follow that with a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Then yarn over, pull through 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Again, chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, pull through 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we have just 2 loops left on our hook. We need to chain 1, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through those last 2 loops. And that completes our return pass. So you can see we've created these pretty little shells. So we've got 4 shells. Now let's do the forward pass. We're going to skip this very first vertical bar here. This loop on our hook counts as our first stitch, so we will always skip that first vertical bar. Now we need to pull up a loop in each of these 2 chains here. So I like to find these little bars here at the top of the chains. So here's 1 and 2. So I'm going to use the tip of my hook as well as the tip of my finger to get under that loop, to yarn over and pull through for 1. And then we're going to find that second chain right next to it, yarn over, pull through for 2. We've got 3 loops on our hook. Now we need to pull up a loop in the top of this shell, just like that. Now we're going to pull up a loop in each of these 4 chains here. So again, let's find the bumps at the top. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to pull up a loop in each of those. There's 1, here's 2, here's 3, and 4. And then pull up a loop at the top of the shell. 4 chains here, we're going to pull up 4 loops. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then pull up in the top of the shell. Once again, we've got 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to pull up 4 loops. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and pull up a loop in the top of the shell. Here at the end, we have 2 chains and our edge stitch. You see that? We have 1 chain here, 1 chain here, and our edge stitch. So we're going to pull up a loop in each of those 2 chains, 1 and 2, and then we're going to pull up a loop in our edge stitch. And what you'll find is at the end of this forward pass, we've now returned to our original number of loops, which is 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. So you should always return to your original number of loops at the end of your forward pass. So this is just a 1 row repeat. So we're going to do what we did for our return pass on the last row. So we'll begin with a chain 2. There's 1 and 2. Keeping those chains loose is going to be very, very important. Now we'll yarn over, pull through the next 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just like that. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over and pull through 6. So there's a yarn over, pull through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just like that. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over, pull through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just like that. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, pull through 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you'll repeat that until you have 2 loops on your hook, just like this. And now we're going to yarn over, pull through 1. Then we're going to yarn over, pull through 2. So you can see that our shells are stacking on top of each other. Now this stitch does bias a little bit to the right or whichever hand that you're working with. So you will need to block this a bit at the end to make sure all of your shells stand up really nicely. But this is looking great so far. Let's do another row together. First loop on our hook counts as our first stitch. So we're skipping this first vertical bar. We'll find the 2 chains between this first stitch and our shell. So we've got a bump here, that's our first chain, and a bump right next to it, there's our second chain. So let's pull up a loop in each of those. That first one's always a little tricky, but there's 1 and there's 2. Pull up a loop in the top of the shell. Then we have 4 chains here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull up a loop in each of those. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then pull up a loop in the top of the shell. 4 chains, 4 loops. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1 in the top of the shell. 4 chains, 4 loops. 1, there's 2, 3, and 4. 1 in the top of the shell, and then here we have 2 chains and our edge stitch. So we're going to grab 1, 2 loops here. Then for our edge stitch, we still need to grab that front vertical bar and the shadow behind it. Make sure you're grabbing both of those loops. Insert, yarn over, and pull through. And now we've returned to our original count. Next, let's move into the return pass. Remember that starts with a chain 2. There's 1 and 2. yarn over, pull through 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Chain 3, 2, 3, pull through 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chain 1, 2, 3, yarn over, pull through 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chain 3, 2, 3, yarn over through 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Repeat until you have 2 loops left on the hook. We'll yarn over, pull through 1, then yarn over, pull through 2. So we've got these lovely stacked shells. I'm going to continue add a little bit more fabric to my swatch, then we'll come back and talk about it a little bit more. I've added a bit more length to my fabric, and now you can really see those gorgeous shells popping out. I absolutely love this stitch. I think it's so pretty on the front and the back. Even if you flip it over, you have these beautiful arches, and this would be great for a baby blanket, a curtain, the bottom of a dress, literally anything that you want. The laciness of the shells is going to add some nice ventilation to this stitch, so you could absolutely use it for wearables, accessories, whatever your creativity sparks in you. Now let's try out another stitch. For this next stitch, we'll start with a multiple of 3 plus 2. So I'm going to leave a long tail there to weave in later, make my slip knot, place it on the hook and tighten it down. Multiple of 3 plus 2. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3. That gives us 15. And now we need to add 2, 1 and 2. So now we're going to rotate, and we're going to do just a normal foundation here. So we're going to skip the bump of our first chain, find our second chain, insert, yarn over, pull up the loop. And we'll do that for each chain down the line, working in the back bumps. So we'll know we did it right if we have the same number of loops on our hook at the end of this forward pass as we did when we made our chain. Insert, yarn over, pull up the loop, all the way down. There we go. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, just like we're meant to. Now we're going to do that normal return pass. Yarn over, pull through 1 to start, then yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2 again until we've got 1 loop left on our hook, just like that. Perfect. Let's move into our pattern row. So we're going to start with a yarn over, and give yourself a little bit of slack with this yarn over. You'll see why in a moment. Then we're going to simple each of the next 3 stitches. First loop on our hook counts as our first stitch. If we skip this first vertical bar, we're going to simple 1, 2, and 3. Here we go. There's 1, 2, and 3. Now for this next step, we need to grab that yarn over that we created and pass it over these 3 stitches and off the top of the hook. So I like to use a tapestry needle for this. You could also just use your finger, just pinch that loop, or you can use a knitting needle, whatever is easiest for you. But I like to use the tip of my tapestry needle to get underneath that loop of the yarn over, and I'm going to hold these other loops back and pass this over the top of my hook, just like that. And I keep it right here on just a little granny square off the side so it's easy to grab, just like that. All right, now let's move on. We're going to yarn over, simple the next 3 stitches. Again, I'm giving myself a little bit of slack on that yarn over. The way I'm doing that is after I yarn over, I'm just kind of taking my first finger and pushing it back just to add a little bit of slack on the back of my yarn over. And now I'm going to simple 3. There's 1, 2, and 3. Grab my tapestry needle, slip it under that loop, hold the other ones back, and off the tip of my hook. So it creates almost a purl bump or just a bar in front of those stitches. Yarn over the hook with a little bit of slack. Simple 3, 1, 2, 3. Grab that yarn over and pass it over. Yarn over, simple 3, 1, 2, and 3. Grab that yarn over, pass it over. Remember, start with a yarn over, simple 3, 1, 2, and 3. Grab that yarn over and pass it over. Now we just have our edge stitch left. We want to grab both bars of that edge stitch, so the front bar and the shadow. Yarn over, pull up that loop. Chain 1 to start the return pass, and then we're going to do our normal return pass. So we're yarning over, pulling through 2 loops. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And we're going to repeat that until we have just 1 loop left on our hook. Look at that, so pretty. I love this stitch. It's got a real strength to it. I think it's beautiful. So we've just got a 1 row repeat here, so let's repeat it again. Start with our yarn over, simple 3, which are going to be really easy to find now because they're all grouped together. There's 1, 2, and 3. Grab that yarn over. First one's always a little bit tricky, but there it is. And pull it over. Yarn over, simple 1, 2, and 3. Grab that yarn over and pull it off. Yarn over, simple 1, 2, and 3. Grab the yarn over and pass it over. Oop, there it is. Pass it off. Yarn over, simple 1, 2, 3. Find that yarn over and pass it off. One more time. Yarn over, simple 1, 2, and 3. Find that yarn over right there and pass it off the tip of your hook. Work that edge stitch. This is what it looks like at the end of the forward pass. And now we'll work our return pass. Yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over through 2, 2, 2. 1 loop left on the hook. That's the end of our return pass. So you can see we've got these groups of stitches all stacked up next to each other with these beautiful horizontal bars in between. I'm going to add a little bit more length onto my swatch here, and then we'll come back and take a closer look. I'm all done with my swatch, and every row has me falling more and more in love with this stitch. I just love the beauty of it. It's got some nice stretch and flexibility, so I think it'd be wonderful for clothing, accessories. You could make an entire baby blanket out of this, put a nice simple border on it. I think it would be lovely. I also think this would be super fun in like a variegated yarn to kind of play around with that texture and have your eye move around a little bit more. It's really pretty on the front and the back, and I hope you'll give it a try. Now let's work on one more stitch. For this last stitch, gauge is especially important, so I've sized up to an 8mm hook versus the 6.5mm hook I've been using for worsted weight yarn so far. We're also going to need 2 colors. I've got pink and gray here, and I'm going to start my foundation with my darker color. Make a slip knot, and then we'll need to do a chain of any even amount. I'm going to do 18. We're going to tighten up the slip knot, chain 18. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So now we'll want to flip to the back. We're going to pull up loops in each of these chains, skipping this very first chain here and starting with the second. Insert under the bump, yarn over, pull up the loop, and repeat that down the line, and we should end up with the same number of loops on our hook as the number of chains that we started with. Last chain complete. Let's give it a quick count just to make sure it's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Great, we're on the right track. Now we'll do our return pass, but we will need to change color at the end of our return pass, so we'll stop when we have 2 loops left. So to begin, we'll yarn over, pull through 1 loop, then we'll yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over through 2, and 2 again until we have 2 loops left on our hook. Alrighty, 2 loops left. Now we're going to drop our color that's in use and we're going to grab our new color, yarn over, and pull up the loop. So now we've changed color and we're going to be changing the color at the end of each return pass. So on this row, first loop on our hook counts as our first stitch. We're skipping our first vertical bar and we need to put a purled slip stitch into this next stitch. Here's how you do that. We're going to bring the yarn to the front and just insert our hook under that bar. We're not going to work that bar. Instead, we're just going to bring our yarn to the back. So we now have a purl bump on the front of that slip stitch and we'll just leave it right there. And now we're going to simple the next stitch. Purl slip stitch the following stitch, simple the next stitch. So for your purl slip stitch, yarn to the front of the hook, insert under the loop, then yarn to the back. If we were to yarn over and pull through, it'd be a full purl stitch, but that's not what we're trying to do. We just want to slip that stitch, followed by a simple. Purled slip, simple. Purled slip, simple, and we'll repeat that down the line. So we increase the size of our hook because those slip stitches are going to tighten up our gauge. Just like that. And we'll work our edge stitch just like normal. So this is what your hook should look like, alternating your 2 colors, but we've only worked with 1 color on this row. Now let's do our return pass. It's just like a normal return pass, but again, we'll stop when we have 2 loops left on the hook because we will need to change color. So we'll yarn over, pull through 1 loop, then yarn over through 2, and 2 again until we have 2 loops left on the hook. Alrighty, 2 loops left, just like that. So we're going to drop that color and we're going to grab the color that we used on our foundation, yarn over, and pull through those 2 loops. So we do have a 2-row repeat here, and here's how it'll work. So now with my gray, I'm going to simple the next stitch. So first loop on the hook counts as the first stitch. We skip this first vertical bar and we're going to simple the next stitch and purl slip the following stitch. So you'll notice I'm working the stitch of the same color and I'm slipping the stitch of the opposite color. So work the same color, slip the following color. So simple one, and then purl slip the next. Simple one, purl slip the next. Simple one, yarn to the front, insert into the stitch, yarn to the back, and leave it. And then simple the next. Purl slip, simple the next. So here at the end of the row, we have our 2 stitches. We have this one and that one. So we need to purl slip this. So yarn to the front, insert, yarn to the back, and then we need to work our edge stitch just like normal. So again, on our hook, we're alternating our colors down to this very end one there because we worked a simple stitch into that next stitch there. Okay, now we need to do our return pass. Yarn over, pull through 1, then yarn over through 2, 2, and 2 again until we have 2 loops left on the hook, just like that. Now we're going to change color, so we're going to drop that to the back and we're going to grab our other color, yarn over, pull through. Okay, so just like before, we're going to slip the opposite color, work the same color. So yarn to the front, insert into that next stitch, yarn to the back, and leave it. Simple the next stitch, slip the following. Simple the next, simple the next, there we go. Slip the following. Simple, slip. Simple, slip. Now make sure after you do your slip, you bring your yarn to the back and we're passing the hook in front of our working yarn to do the next simple. Yarn to the front for the slip, yarn to the back for the simple. Yarn to the front for the slip and to the back for the simple. And we'll repeat that across the row. Simple, and then work our edge stitch, making sure we're grabbing both bars of that edge stitch so we keep nice clean edges on that side. Pull up that loop, chain 1, yarn over through 2, 2, and 2 again until you've got 2 loops left on the hook. All right, let's do one more row together just to make sure you got it down. So I've got 2 loops left here, all right? And now I'm going to grab my other color and pull through. So first loop on my hook counts as my first stitch. I'm skipping this first vertical bar. I'm going to simple this next stitch because it's the same color as the yarn I'm working, and slip the following stitch purlwise. Yarn in the back for a simple, yarn to the front for a purl slip. Simple one, purl slip one. Simple one, purl slip one. There we go. I think this stitch is so pretty. It's a nice way to use up some color and to add some visual interest to your piece. I swatched this up originally with a variegated yarn and a solid yarn, and it is so pretty. So yarn to the back, I'm going to work my edge stitch here. Very, very pretty. It's got like a tweed look to it, and it really starts to see the effect the more fabric that you add. So we're going to chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, 2, and 2 again until there's 2 loops left on the hook, just like that. Very good. And then from here, we'll switch color. So now you've got the gist of it. I'm going to add a little bit more length to my fabric. Come back when you're done and let's talk about it a bit more. I finished my swatch and I am in love. Look at that beautiful texture and the way the colors play next to each other. You can barely tell where one starts and another ends. It's a really gorgeous play on some simple stitches. And you'll also notice that because of the purl slip stitches, we don't get a lot of curling here. We do still have those simple stitches, so it pulls a little bit, but this will block out like an absolute dream. I'm really glad that I sized up my hook, because even with sizing up, we don't have a whole lot of give in the fabric. So make sure you size up when you use this stitch. I think it can work for just about anything where the actual focus is not really what's important, but really playing up the color and playing with texture. So try this out with some variegated yarns, maybe a color changing cake with a neutral, I think would be truly beautiful. Just have a lot of fun with it. I think this is a stitch that would really catch the eye depending on the yarn that you use. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more stitch tutorials, please give this video a like and subscribe to make sure you don't miss them. It was so fun sharing these stitches with you, and I'd love to know what you plan to do with them. Drop down in the comments and tell me all about your plans. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!